US President Donald Trump was welcomed by British royal spectacle Wednesday, greeted by military honour guards and mounted troops in a historic second state visit for the US leader. Prince William and his wife Catherine first met the president's Marine One helicopter as it landed in the private walled garden on the Windsor Castle estate. Trump was treated to a tour of the royal collection and a beating retreat ceremony as he visited the royals. The day of pageantry was on a scale designed to impress the president and involved some 120 horses and 1,300 troops, including the largest guard of honour in living memory. It's a visit not without political impact, with the UK's leader Keir Starmer seeking to boost ties with Trump at a moment when his America First policies are putting pressure on global trade. Trump and Starmer are expected to hold talks on Thursday. In London, Trump's visit was met by thousands of protesters who carried banners against the US leader. Although the number of demonstrators was smaller than Trump's last state visit 6 years ago. Inflation in the Eurozone is right on target, hitting 2% in August, according to new figures from Eurostat. The number is in line with targets set out by the European Central Bank, and means more interest rate cuts are unlikely to come soon. Price growth has held steady since June, with the biggest increases in food, alcohol and tobacco, all up 3.2%, and services up 3.1%. Non-energy industrial goods rose just 0.8%, while energy prices fell by 2%. The new data comes just a week after the European Central Bank decided to keep interest rates unchanged. The bank's key deposit rate remains at 2%, its lowest level in more than 2 years. ECB head Christine Lagarde stressed the bank isn't locked into a fixed path and that future decisions will depend on how the economy performs.
Did Pedro Sánchez incite pro-Palestine protesters to stop La Vuelta cycling race?
Many Spaniards are enraged by the cancellation of the last lap of La Vuelta Ciclista a España, their iconic 3-week cycling race across the country. Its final stage was abandoned this weekend after thousands of pro-Palestine protesters blocked the finish line in Madrid. 2 people were detained and 22 police officers injured. Prominent Spanish politicians were quick to argue that Pedro Sánchez, Spain's prime minister, was directly responsible for the disruption. But what did Sánchez actually say? Speaking at a PSOE event in Andalucía, Sánchez said he first and foremost respected the athletes competing in the Vuelta, but he also expressed admiration for Spaniards who mobilized for just causes like that of Palestine.
Sabéis que hoy termina la Vuelta a España. La Vuelta a España. Y vaya por delante nuestro reconocimiento y respeto absoluto a los deportistas, pero también nuestra admiración a un pueblo como el español que se moviliza por causas justas, como la de Palestina.
He added that he felt proud to see a country that, despite its diversity, comes together on a just cause like human rights, finishing with "Long live the Spanish people." He did not explicitly call for protest or mention stopping the race, and in fact hailed the athletes as much as the protesters. But many still found his words inflammatory and irresponsible. José Luis Martínez Almeida, mayor of Madrid, said, "Today, Madrid has been overwhelmed by violence, for which I make the president of the government directly responsible, because of his irresponsible statements this morning inciting the demonstrators." And Isabel Díaz Ayuso, president of the Madrid region, tweeted, "When the president of the nation cheers on the boycott against the Vuelta Ciclista, he becomes responsible for every clash that occurs." Meanwhile, accusations also rained from the left, blaming Sánchez for not doing enough to support the protesters.
We are very proud of this project because we are looking in Europe and nobody else so fast did this project. So we are very thankful for our partners, for the boat company who built the boats, and it was a big responsibility for the city and for the citizens to say that we will make a boat in 6-7 months.
Live in the center, in this area, and you work here, I guess yes, especially maybe women would like it, like a romantic way to go to work or to clear your mind after work. I think it will be very cool.
If we're saying that it's public transportation, but it's slower than walking, so we're not being honest. And if we're not being honest about every single part of this green transformation, then people will be confused, and in the end they will be disappointed. For now, I think it's a good experiment, and I like experiments, so I'm rooting for it to work, but I'm a bit skeptical.
Not only was he an incredible actor, we all know his work, but his as a director too, films like Quiz Show, he was one of the first guys to do political thrillers, 3 Days of the Condor, All the President's Men. He kind of he paved the way for films like this, but more so than anything, he was a staunch environmental leader and was a member of the NRDC like me, and fought for indigenous rights. The list goes on and on. We lost a legend today.
It's so sad. You know, it's inevitable. It just happens. But he left behind so much. And we're never going to see that guy again. You know, that's a different era, a different kind of man, different mentality. That's why it needs to be revered.
I mean, not just an incredible list of roles and films, both as director, as actor, as producer, but then also the whole Sundance institution, and I mean that will live on and on.
You know, Coda being bought there at Sundance, you know, I would always think of him, and I hope that I would have a chance to meet him, and unfortunately I didn't, but it's so touching, and I'm so grateful for all of his work and his the accumulation of all of his hard work. And we still talk about him. Even after he passes away, his impact will live on, and we'll really miss him.
Just as someone that contributed something to the sustainability of our culture, I guess, whether it's my work as a film. I think probably whatever I do, what will probably last the longest are the films that I've made, because they have a long life. So just that I was somebody that brought something to the culture that had some sustainability or some value, whatever that is.